guys, Challenger and Gray's May jobs report has some pretty shocking stats, some good, some bad. And of course, if you get subbed to the channel, you are not going to miss out on what's happening with the job market, because it is absolutely insane, especially in the world of AI and AI agents, what industries are churning, what industries are shaving, what industries are hiring. This is the channel to get in the know, so make sure to smash subscribe. All right, guys, let's get into the jobs report. So for the month of May, U.S. employers announced 97,000 job cuts, which is up from 83,000 last month in April. In fact, this is a 16% increase in the amount of job layoff announcements. Not especially good. In fact, this is the highest May total since 2020. So we've got some major shaving happening during this month of May. Not good. This year, employers have announced nearly 400,000 cuts, which is actually a good thing. That's down 43% from last year. Last year, at this time, there were nearly 700,000 job cuts. So we went from about 700,000 job cuts last year to 400,000 cuts announced this year. Now, that being said, last year, a lot of the layoffs were driven by federal layoffs. If we were going to remove all the federal layoffs that happened last year, the amount of layoffs from January to current is about the same, 2026, 2025. Last year, again, Trump administration went in, Doge went in, started gutting a lot of federal jobs, which kind of spiked the layoff numbers last year. Now, while the number of layoffs remain fairly stable, the reason for the layoffs is the big difference. And this is the thing that people are not talking about, or they are talking about it, but they're not actually backing up with numbers, which I think is important. In fact, I was in a mastermind group earlier today, and you know, there are a few times where some of the business owners said, well, it feels like, we said, you know, guys, it's not about what it feels like, it's like, what do the numbers say? As someone who's in the marketing world, I'm very interested in conversions, you know, impressions, leads generated, clicks, open rates, all that stuff is really important. So again, we have to look at the actual numbers, and I think there's some important numbers. And the big change, the thing that is really big this year is AI. AI is leading to more layoffs than any time in history. And in fact, it's becoming one of the #1 reasons for layoffs. More on that in just a moment. Let's first look at where the layoffs are happening, what industries. So the #1 industry that saw layoffs this month is tech. There were 38,000 job cuts reported this past month in May, which is the highest since August of 2024. That's almost 124,000 this year, which is up 66% from last year. So we're seeing a lot of tech layoffs, which shouldn't be a surprise. We've been covering tons and tons of big tech layoff news. It seems like even this in the past week and a half, we've seen a lot of tech layoffs. I mean, you know, we're just talking about crazy numbers, thousands, tens of thousands of layoffs have been happening this month. Also during May was Meta laid off 8,000. That was a big story. I'll post a link to that video here so you can see what happened with Meta. One of my, I hate to use the word favorite, but I think one of the most interesting layoff stories from this month was ClickUp. I'll post a link to this video here where we talk about what happened at ClickUp. ClickUp was interesting because it kind of, it really solidified the idea that AI agents are replacing human beings over at ClickUp, and just a bunch of different stories. Intuit layoffs. Anyway, some videos you can kind of go check out some of those videos on the channel. Transportation, interesting as well. 69,000 cuts this past month, which is 40,000 this year. Which is, get this is a shocking number. Transportation cuts are up 450% compared to 2025. A lot of transportation getting cut down. Why is that? Is that the rising cost of oil and gas? Is that maybe a change in consumer behavior? I find that to be really interesting. Obviously, we've been talking about a lot of people being laid off and replaced by AIs. Maybe they're not as much purchasing power happening right now. I mean, if so, it would be a surprise to me, because for some reason, I keep finding Amazon boxes on my doorstep with my wife's name on them. So if people stopped purchasing and the transportation costs have gone up, whatever, someone tell my wife, because the boxes keep coming. You feel me on that? If you feel me on that, put a like on the video right now. Healthcare product manufacturers and hospitals, we've seen 30,000 cuts so far, which is up 17% from last year. Services cut 6,200 during the month of May for a total of 17,000, which is actually a 61% decrease. So services actually are, we actually have a decrease in firing. It looks like services might be an interesting industry to get into. And again, we've covered, a couple days ago, we covered some of the more, some of the trades and some other types of predictions on where jobs could be happening. I'll post a link to a video here. Shout out to Course Careers, doing a really good job helping people get educated and hired in some of these trades fields like HVAC, plumbing, data analyst, electrician, etc. Shout out to Course Careers. Love what they're doing over there, and they've actually been a sponsor in the past, so I appreciate them. That's where the layoffs are happening. Number one, tech, transportation, services, healthcare, and services, which is pretty, not completely surprising. Tech is really, like, the AI agent debacle is huge. And that leads us into our next topic here of the video, which is why are the layoffs happening? And this is shocking. This is staggering. Like, someone needs to tell David Sachs what is going on here, because AI in May was ranked the #1 reason for job cuts, the third month in a row, guys. Third month in a row. So far this year, we've got 38,579 job cuts directly related to AI. And this is the highest total ever recorded. And get this, guys, 40% of the job cuts announced in May were because of AI. 40%. Are you paying attention yet? I know, I remember last year people were like, dude, you need to calm down. Everything's fine. Things are good. And I think that they are pretty good overall, but to sit here and pretend that AI is not impacting the job market is absolutely asinine. You are kidding yourself. You're absolutely kidding yourself. So anyway, during the month of May, 40% of job cuts were directly related to AI. And get this, look at these numbers. 7% in January related to AI, 25% in March related to AI, 26% in April, and now 40%. Guys, 22% of all layoffs announced this year are directly related to AI. And excuse me, I misspoke. 38,579 job cuts in the month of May were directly related to AI. So far this year, we have 87, almost 90,000 jobs this year directly related to AI. Guys, again, 22% of all layoffs this year are directly related to AI. That's up from 5% last year and 2.5% the year prior. What do you think the layoffs related to AI are going to be next year? And then more so, what are the hiring practices going to be related to AI moving forward? We'll talk about that in a moment. The other major layoff reasons were bankruptcy, market and economic conditions, and then closings related to acquisitions and mergers. So a lot of movement. I think overall what you can see is that layoffs continue to happen, but the reason for the layoffs are more directly attributed to artificial intelligence. And like we've been saying before, in previous videos, we've been talking about how AI agents, this is the year of the AI agent. This is the year where companies stop looking at AI as a tool and start looking at AI as an employee, an actual working employee. And you guys see this. I mean, have you seen this before, people? You probably do this. People will call their ChatGPT bot by a certain name. It's like, oh, well, I talked to Rick AI. Like, who's Rick? Oh, Rick is my AI assistant. Yes. People are looking at that and they're putting, different AI assistants on their organizational charts and saying, well, we don't need to hire an HR assistant because we have or Karen.hr.ai, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Anyway, hiring plan. So U.S., and this is, I think, we're going to see some good news here because it's not just about the firings that are happening during May, but it's hiring plans. So during the month of May, U.S. employers announced over 80,000 planned hires compared to just under 80,000 last year. So it's pretty similar announced hirings last year and this year. Now, where were those jobs announced? The #1 sector where jobs announced were in tech, where we had over 11,000 job hirings announced. Who do you think is being hired in tech right now? Do you think it might be people that are integrating AI into their workflows? I think so. I think so. Next on the list, we have electronics at 3,100, insurance at 1,400, and then energy at 800. So far, year to date, the most job announcements have been in automotive at 12,000, entertainment and leisure at 8,700, and then aerospace and defense at 7,600. I do find it kind of curious that we're not seeing more of the construction, building, blue collar, trade type of work showing up. I do find that a little bit surprising. Maybe it's under the table, I don't know, but regardless, that's kind of what we're seeing there. According to ADP, a payroll processing firm, they said that 122,000 workers were added this month, which is the strongest month since January 2025, which I think is interesting. And they found that education and health services led with 57,000 hires. Trade, transportation, and utilities added 36,000 hires. This past month, professional and business services contributed 11,000, and construction and leisure and hospitality both rose by 8,000. So, I mean, if we look at what's happening in the market now, guys, I gotta say, it seems relatively healthy. It seems like people are being laid off, people are being hired. It's especially nice to see people being hired back into tech after so many people are being laid off. At least from what I can tell, a lot of people are being laid off due to AI, but a lot of people are being hired, I think, because of AI as well. We're getting at, especially if you work in front of a computer, you just need to know how to use this stuff. I think it's as simple as that. And I don't think that this is a really foreign aspect. I cannot have a conversation with one person, maybe that's because to a hammer everything looks like a nail, but everybody I talk to that's in the business world is always talking about, hey, how can I use AI? Is it Claude? Is it ChatGPT? Should I be using Gemini? How do I integrate it? What do I do with this list? How do I create spreadsheets? I was thinking about building out this software. What should I do? It's all about AI right now. And I think for good reason. It's extremely powerful. I'm saving a bunch of time. I'm really excited about it. And that's that. So anyway, what do you guys think about the job report? Do you think it's all smoke and mirrors? This to me is the most shocking thing, seeing that 22% of all layoffs this year are directly related to AI, attributed to AI. The number one reason for layoffs over the past 3 months. I think that is shocking. Absolutely shocking. And this is what the channel is about, guys. It's the mass disruption that we're seeing in job markets due to technology. And how do guys like you and like me actually make it in this new world? How do we remain relevant, respected, and financially free? I want financial freedom. I don't want to be rich. I just don't want to have to worry about money. Does that make sense? Anyway, I appreciate you guys watching the video. If you like today's video, smash the like, smash subscribe, and go check out yesterday's video where we talk about more of this type of topic so you can be educated, prepared, maybe entertained a little bit, and just really get ready to crush it in this new world. All right, boys, I'll see you later. Peace.